Ladies and gentlemen, please rise for the entrance of the official party and remain standing for the national anthem. Please take your seats. Family and friends, I'd like to thank you for your attendance at the graduation of the Department of Aviation Medicine Flight Paramedic course, Class 262. Welcome. My name is Sergeant First Class McIntosh. I am the Master of Ceremony for today's graduation. These students seated before you spent the past 4 weeks pouring their hearts, a lot of sweat, and even some tears to accomplish the goal of becoming an Army critical care flight paramedic. They come from all over the country in pursuit of higher education to provide the best possible medical care to our injured soldiers on the battlefield. We here at the Department of Aviation Medicine demand a lot out of these soldiers. They initially received academic training involving aeromedical and hoist operation, as well as recognition of aircraft components and systems. The students were challenged to appropriately identify and describe the workings of the engine, transmission, landing gear, hydraulics, and auxiliary systems of the UH-60 Black Hawk helicopter. Learning the operational doctrine and inner workings of a Black Hawk may have been a surprise for most of them, but they persevered and excelled as a class. After the aviation-specific tasks were complete, the next phase was to focus on their medical tasks in the back of a helicopter. The simulated patients treated throughout this course range from trauma injuries with multiple amputations, military working dogs, post-surgical critical care transfers, to even children and babies. The students took part in a mass casualty scenario where they assessed, triaged, and treated multiple patients while still being expected to manage a very chaotic scene. This tested their physical and mental limits to prepare for a mass casualty producing environments. Additionally, the students completed a cumulative situational training exercise where they had to manage a critical post-surgical patient in a real helicopter as it flew 1,000 feet off the ground. These flight paramedics finally put into practice everything they learned over the past 4 weeks and accomplished what they set out to achieve, some starting over a year ago. But the learning does not stop here. This is only the beginning of all the possibilities that lie before them. These students are ready to join an incredibly proud community. All branches of the United States Army look to their past for inspiration and hard-learned examples to follow. Most look to the greatest generation. However, the U.S. Army aeromedical evacuation community was born on the battlefields of Korea and proved its worth in the Vietnam War through sheer audacity and determination. Among the millions of casualties produced in the Vietnam War, more than 900,000 survived their injuries thanks to the uncommon dedication and bravery of a relatively small group of soldiers known as Dust Off. The dust-off soldiers flew the most dangerous missions in South Vietnam to evacuate wounded troops from the battlefield with the goal of keeping them alive long enough to receive more thorough medical care further in the rear. Their unofficial battle cry was, "When I have your wounded," which were some of the last words spoken by legendary dust-off detachment commander, Major Charles Kelly. He will always be remembered for his heroism on July 1st, 1964. On this day, Major Kelly received a call from a unit near Van Long. When approaching the area, Major Kelly radioed the men on the ground and asked them to mark their position with smoke. As he neared the ground, the enemy forces turned their weapons on his vulnerable aircraft. The advisors on the ground frantically radioed Major Kelly, warning him to get out of the area as fast as possible. "When I have your wounded," he answered. Although he was later killed in action, Major Kelly's daring persistence serves as an example for dust-off crews to follow to this very day. He only had 3 simple rules, which became the core competency of Army medevac. Accept every mission, never return without a patient, and always prioritize the patient's safety. The students seated before you demonstrated persistent qualities of their medevac predecessors and met Major Kelly's expectations in training. We are proud to pass the torch to this new generation of critical care flight paramedics. Now, I would like to introduce our guest speaker for today, Colonel John Venencia. Colonel John Venencia is a board-certified aerospace occupational medicine physician with substantial experience in graduate medical education and training with a doctorate degree in osteopathic medicine from Nova Southern University. He has served as an associate program director for occupational medicine, program director for the aerospace medicine, and currently serves as the director of graduate medicine education at Fort Rucker, Alabama. He has deployed as a brigade flight surgeon of Task Force Odin, observe, detect, identify, and neutralize enhanced in Afghanistan in 2013. His duty assignment includes Fort Bliss, Texas, Galveston, Texas, Pensacola, Florida, and Fort Rucker, with a combat deployment in support of Operation Enduring Freedom. Most importantly, Colonel Venencia is one of the greatest friends and advocates of the U.S. Army aerospace evacuation community. Sir?
First of all, I would like to thank our guests, our family, our friends, those that are present, those that will be seeing this online, sharing this milestone with the graduates. I would like the graduating class to give a round of applause for the people that support us. I'm honored to be asked to speak today at your graduation. I'm proud and excited for you as you start on this journey, and I feel doubly fortunate because shortly after I took the director position here at the schoolhouse in September 22, Ruben Cruz asked me to do this honor, so today nicely bookends my tenure as DAM director. As director, I have overseen the training of approximately 400 flight paramedics, and I've attended about 15 graduations. At each graduation, I see the video play of the flight paramedics performing their heroic duties. And I can tell you that it moves me each time I see it to this day. So much that I don't mind that it still says USASAM and does not say DAM. Having first enlisted in 1993, and I'm on short final to retire in the next few months, I wondered what pearls of wisdom I can give on a day where you are starting a new chapter of your military career. So settle in as I recap my last 30 plus years of military medicine career over the next couple of hours. All right, I was waiting to see if anyone was going to leave, but I have, of course, kidding. I am well aware that I am what stands between you and lunch, and for most of you, probably travel back to your home station. But this is a significant moment that comes with awesome responsibilities. So I believe a few words are warranted. I would like to address you in your new role with a phrase that you're all familiar with, and it is special trust and confidence, and how it applies in the layers of the world around you. I will start with our cadre. They have special trust and confidence that you received their training, focused on patient care guidelines and peppered with nuggets of real-world pro tips that you're not going to find in books. It's based on their thousands of combat patient pickups and transfers, but are now part of your toolkit. The special trust and confidence, similar to that of a parent, that you will go out and be better than them, as many of them were the first to do this thing called flight paramedic, and they learned the lessons sometimes the hard way. That you trust their sincerity when they tell you they're behind you for the rest of your career and will always be here if you need them. Myself and Lieutenant Colonel Height have special trust and confidence in the experienced and passionate cadre, our high-fidelity training facility, and your baseline clinical readiness. So much so that we were confident in signing your badge orders and are graduating you to the Army force. Your future patients have special trust and confidence that everything that I just mentioned is true, that they can put themselves in harm's way to fulfill the Army mission because they are confident that you will do all the things that we saw in that video to get them on what could be the worst day of their lives. They do what they do because we do what we do. Your colleagues and the new community in which you now belong have special trust and confidence that you will have each other's back, that you will share information, training techniques, and your honest run sheets through the joint trauma system so that your lessons learned become our lessons learned. And yourself. You need to have special trust and confidence that you've been trained to the best of our ability on real patient scenarios so that you are ready to receive that call or 9-line. Trust that you will continue with the self-discipline needed in this journey in medicine that demands continued learning and discovery because medicine updates constantly, and every patient encounter is a unique learning experience. That you will step up to do as many patient sets and reps as you can because you know that's the only way that you're going to get better. Right? And of course, the Army. The Army has special trust and confidence that you will fulfill this critical need. I can tell you that in my 30 years, the Army is in a transformative period like no other. We know that the face of warfare itself has changed from lessons learned in Ukraine and Gaza. We need to be prepared for drones impacting our airspace dominance, and that we will have constant surveillance that may influence how we get our patients, how we move our patients, and may force prolonged patient care in the field. You are going to be in the forefront of how medevac and CASEVAC are conducted in the future battle space. Go out and do good things. You have the opportunity to positively influence the lives of your future patients and their families in ways that nobody else can. With your role in the healthcare system, you're going to give them the gift of shared birthdays, anniversaries, Mother's and Father's Days, etc., that they may have not gotten otherwise without your intervention. The last thing I have to say is come back. Come back and take the Joint In-Route Care course. It counts as a national certification refresher training. You also train with other mid-level providers as well as you go out. And then when you build your confidence and your passion for flight paramedic medicine, come back and teach the next generation. Good luck, and God bless.
Colonel Venencia, thank you for your words of wisdom and inspiration. And now, I would like to call Specialist Fahidi to the stage to lead the students in the Flight Medic Oath.
I accept the solemn responsibility which has been placed on me
Specialist Fahidi will return to First Sergeant Azarmindi, what was issued at the beginning of the course. Specialist Fahidi was chosen to be the bearer of the legendary Crewmember wings that date back to the 1980s. This exact badge has been passed from class to class without fail and was issued at the beginning of the course to be carried at all times to honor those who have come before them. This class has been through an incredible amount of training to get to where they sit now, and we will recognize them for that dedication. The Distinguished Honor Graduate is recognition given to the student who achieves the highest academic exam average and receives a first-time go on all hands-on evaluations. The Distinguished Honor Graduate for Class 262 is Sergeant Isaac Bonacorsi, active duty. The runner-up is recognized as the honor graduate. This recipient for Class 262 is Sergeant Benjamin Jasek from the Wyoming National Guard. The next three are selected for the Commandant's list for being in the top 20% of their class. Sergeant Cole Kylan, active duty. Specialist James Murphy, Delaware National Guard. Sergeant Brandon Wrights, Tennessee National Guard. The additional graduates for Class 262 are Sergeant Cassandra Engel, active duty. Sergeant Caroline Bizio, active duty. Specialist Cole Bosma, Michigan National Guard. Sergeant Stephen Brown, Arizona National Guard. Sergeant Daniel Camarena, California Reserves. Sergeant Gavin Dozer, active duty. Sergeant First Class Rodney Espinal, active duty. Specialist Joseph Fahidi, Tennessee National Guard. Staff Sergeant Grace Godwin, active duty. Sergeant Curtis Hauser, California National Guard. Sergeant Haley Kennedy, Vermont National Guard. Sergeant Mark Catano, Hawaii National Guard. Sergeant Brian Lang, active duty. Staff Sergeant Ashley LaRusso, New Mexico National Guard. Sergeant Michael Ray, active duty. Sergeant Alon Rodriguez, active duty. Specialist Jesse Smith, Virginia National Guard. Staff Sergeant Micah Springer, active duty. Sergeant Corey Tower, Maine National Guard. Sergeant Zachary Weisner, active duty. Staff Sergeant Mark Welch, active duty. Sergeant Joseph Whitaker, active duty. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you the graduates of the Flight Paramedic course. Sergeant Bonacorsi, the Dust Off Association would like to present you with a gift.
Hey, Sergeant, on behalf of the Dust Off Association and sponsored by Onboard Systems, they have purchased for you a lifetime membership with the Dust Off Association, which, if you're not aware, Dust Off Association is our professional organization that represents our pilots, warrant officers, and flight medics, both in the community and through Congress and through a whole bunch of other lines of efforts, making sure that our history is maintained and that we're taken care of for the future. So on behalf of Dust Off Association, congratulations on a lifetime membership. Good job. Distinguished Sergeant.
As a distinguished honor graduate, Sergeant Bonacorsi will now present a class gift to Colonel John Venencia. As a class leader, Sergeant Bonacorsi will present Colonel Height, Director of the Department of Aviation Medicine, with a class plaque. On behalf of the Director, I would like to thank everybody for their attendance today. Ladies and gentlemen, please stand for the playing of the Army song, and please remain standing for the departure of the official party.
March along, sing a song with the army of the free. Count the brave, count the true, who have fought to victory. We're the army and proud of our name. We're the army and proudly proclaim.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for your attendance. This concludes the graduation. Class dismissed.